So Mark Gurman from 9 to 5 Mac has brought his signature rumor, his sources, his secret, super secret iPhone sources to Bloomberg.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was reading his article on Bloomberg. I thought, wow, Bloomberg has the scoop. And then I saw, oh, it's Mark Gurman.
Yeah, they have Mark Gurman.
He's got the sources.
Yep. And so he says definitely no headphone jack. He says dual camera, but only for the 6 Plus, only for the bigger version. And that dual camera will make pictures with better, like in the dark, which is my iPhone.
The theory is, according to Mark, that the dual camera, and we know these, by the way, because they're making them, right? Because they're going to announce, Apple will announce in less than a month. Probably you'll be able to get one in less than a month. I think they were guessing, EvLeaks was saying, Evan Blass, who's a prolific leaker on Twitter, said September 16th. So a month and a week. But Mark said that there, and we've seen pictures of it, so we know it's true, that at least one of the phones will have 2 camera lenses. He said in this article that they'll take the picture with both lenses at the same time. And each lens is tuned for different sensitivity and color. And then they will combine them computationally to produce a better image. I think that sounds like a great idea. Not the first time we've seen that.
Right, but in an iPhone is the first time.
Oh, this also comes from EvLeaks. All right, September 12th will be the release. Now, I think when they're saying release, they're saying you'll be able to get it. So there's 2 phones there. The one on the right looks like the old iPhone, and that's the other thing that Mark Gurman said, according to his sources. Not a huge difference in looks between the old and the new.
Which is different. I mean, every 2 years we've been seeing a different sized iPhone, but we won't.
There'll be 2 sizes. Again, the iPhone 6 size, which is 5.2 inches, the 6S Plus, iPhone 6S, 6S Plus side, which is 5.5 inches. What he did say is that these antenna lines, top and bottom, the plastic lines on the aluminum case will be gone.
Those are so ugly. They're antenna lines, you say?
Yeah. Because, radio frequency doesn't go through metal very well. In fact, as soon as they started making metal phones, it was, that's when you had antenna gate. Remember the iPhone 4?
Who could forget that?
So they do these little plastic lines. Somehow they figured out a way, I guess, not to do that. I don't know how they're going to do that. He also said that this button, the home button, will no longer move.
Yeah, not be a click, just be haptic feedback.
Haptic click, which, by the way, they've done already on the MacBook and some other Macintosh laptops. And you can't tell it's not clicking. It feels like it's moving. So it works fine.
Is that how the Force Touch works?
Not the same.
Oh.
But it's haptic feedback, so I guess it's technically the same idea, which is you have a little vibration buzzer behind the home button. And when you touch it, it'll vibrate, but it tricks your brain into thinking you've clicked it. The biggest change to the new iPhone, at least one of the 2, certainly the whatever they call it, the Plus version, the Plus size, is you're going to lose that antiquated piece of history called the headphone jack.
Just a dumb hole. We don't need it.
Dumb hole. You don't need it. Problem is, I have probably 4 dozen pairs of headphones with a headphone jack in it. Now, I presume Apple will ship an adapter that'll take the Lightning port and have it in a headphone, and that would be easy and not very expensive, but I don't want to carry an adapter and my headphones.
No.
I am, some people are laughing and mock me. They say, Leo, you're just an old man. You want the old ways. You don't ever want them to change. They said the same about floppy disks. They said the same about CD-ROMs. Welcome to the 21st century. You don't need a headphone jack. All right, fine. We'll see. We'll see if people want a headphone jack. It makes me not want to buy an iPhone 7, especially if there's nothing else new.
Well, the Galaxy Note, that was a big part of their presentation,
right? They said, we have a headphone. Yeah. They were very much aiming at Apple with that one. Steve Gibson had a theory, though, that I don't think Apple's going to do this. I think what they're going to do is they're going to trot out Johnny Ive, who will say, and because there's no headphone jack, it's thinner. It's lighter, and we can put more battery. Plus, and Mark Gurman did say this, there'll be stereo speakers. Now, I got to point out, I have many phones with stereo speakers. Apple's one of the last phones to only have 1 speaker on the bottom, and they somehow managed to do it even with a headphone jack. So, but anyway, now we'll have stereo speakers. It's our first time ever, and maybe they'll go with Steve's idea, which I love. He said, well, because you're connecting not to a dumb analog headphone jack, but to a digital powerful jack like the Lightning connector, You can do more with those headphones. He suggests that Apple might want to ship noise-canceling headphones. That because these headphones could be powered by the battery in your phone, so they could be as small as earbuds, the computation could be done on the phone. The way noise canceling works is there's a microphone or two somewhere that listens to the jet noise and inverts the polarity of it, the phase of it, so that it cancels it out. That's done computationally, and that's why the big Bose Quiet Comfort headphones there's a lot of circuitry involved. So Apple could make lightweight little earbuds, use the computation of the phone. Microphone could be on the earbuds, or they could be on the phone, and the power coming out of the lightning port. Now, that might be interesting, right? If they said, and our new headphones are noise canceling. Steve also pointed out that headphones, or earbuds, I should say, anything in your ear, is close to blood vessels, and so can be used for not just heart rate monitoring, but things like blood pressure and oxygen level. These could be the ultimate wearables because they're in your ear and they're so close to the tympanic membrane they can see the blood flow go by. And that's another thing Apple do, attach HealthKit to your earphones and give you more information. So I'm hoping that that's what Apple does. If Apple's going to make that transaction, take something away from me, they've got to give something of equal value back, right?
Yeah.
Not just it looks better.
Well, I think the battery, the battery is of higher value than thinner, lighter.
1%. That's not a lot of space in there. I don't buy that we're going to get a much bigger battery. In fact, watch and see. Compare the milliamp hours of the old iPhone with the new one and see if you get how much more you get. 10 milliamp hours more, big deal.
Yeah, I like that noise canceling
Isn't that an interesting idea?
Because have you heard of the headphones that can tell if if I'm saying Leo or something like that? Those don't exist yet. But
basically, these are computational headphones. Siri, you could have a microphone in them. Siri could be actually attached to the headphones, not to the phone. There's all sorts of things you could do because that's a data port as well as an audio port. So I hope Steve is right. I think it's a great idea. Apple, I hope you listen and you give us something. Because if you're I'm okay with you taking away if you give us something in return. But the better design, yeah, that's what I don't want. This is also a rumor, by the way. Could very well be fake. But that's the dongle that's rumored to be included, which will plug into the lightning port and then have a mini jack.
Interesting.
Anyway, what do you think? There's also people pointing out that Square and other devices, I think one of our sponsors, FreshBooks, has one of these, use the headphone port for EMV chip card readers and for Stripe readers. They generate audio, which is how the card is read. There's the swipe generates a little audio that goes into the analog port because that's a microphone too. I don't know what those companies are going to do, but really, if you think about it, the lightning port is much easier to use.
I think Square might have a wireless one now.
Well, that's the other thing. People are saying, well, you don't need headphones because you have wireless headphones. I don't know about you. My experience with wireless headphones, they cut out. They're not super reliable. The quality is not as good as wired.
Well, I had a pair of Plantronics Bluetooth headphones for exercise. They're perfect for running, very rubbery, and I lost them.
How was the sound quality, though, for
It
music?
was fine. It's for podcasts.
It's okay.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts when I'm running. I got to fill my brain with stuff while I'm running. And I'm not a music aficionado. But I lost them, and I went to replace them, and they cost $150 versus the $15 ones that plug into, that I'm not gonna, that I don't care if I lose.
By the way, some of that extra money will go to Apple because conveniently they can't patent or license the headphone jack, but they sure as heck can patent and license the lightning port, and they make money on everybody who makes a lightning port headphone. So if you were a real cynic, you'd say this was just motivated by profit. I don't think so.
Yeah, but this phone is going to be important. These holiday, it's going to come out in September. It's going to be really important to their holiday sales.
The question is it important to us as users?
Upgrade.
Right. Is anybody unhappy if you've got a late model iPhone? If you've got the 6 or the 6S, you probably aren't going to get any benefit.
Right.
So really, mostly this matters to Apple's bottom line because they live and die by the success of the iPhone at this point. Not by the Apple Watch, not by the Apple TV, certainly not by Macintoshes. They haven't updated those in a long, long time. And the iPad sales are plummeting. This is 80% of Apple's revenue is the iPhone. So it's whatever they announce in the next few weeks is a big deal, and you can bet they're thinking long and hard about how do we get people back in the store to buy a new iPhone.